you may not know this, Jeff. Record number of Americans hitting a milestone year, a birthday. Here's the music. Cue it. Yes, they're calling it the silver tsunami. Not just because you have silver hair, Jeff.
I was wondering the connection.
Not because of Jeff.
Yeah.
One day.
And
You're
I'm
still
45.
Yeah, 20 more years. 20 more years. Now, more Americans are turning 65 years old this year than any other time in history. More than 11,000 people will be celebrating that birthday every day. That might mean a lot more happy people. I hope, if you like your birthday, of course. So to help us all break down what this means and what health issues are most important for this silver tsunami, they're calling it, we've got our very own Dr. Kohli here with us. So Dr. Kohli, what makes the 65-year-old different than any other age group or generation?
You know, it's incredible. I celebrated my mom's 66th birthday just yesterday.
Well.
Spent the day with her, and we actually had a conversation about this because I said 65 or 66 today is so different than it was 30 years ago. This is an entirely different generation, and we used to call this the sunset of our lives because things were winding down, your health, your finances, everything else. But now it's the opposite. It's a new chapter. And what we're seeing is that 65-year-olds today, they're healthier, they're wealthier, so they're more financially independent. Many of them are working, twice as many are working now than they did several decades ago, and they're more independent. So they're more divorced people, they're people that are dating, they're, you know, on social media, they're technologically savvy, and they're just getting out there. And more of them are moving and being active. So programs like Silver Sneakers and such are really working. So I think this is ushering in a generation where you got 20 years ahead of you or more. And this is the time to embrace those years and look at it as a whole different part of your life.
It's got the Riz.
Okay.
It has the Riz.
Yeah.
Tell our viewers what the Riz means.
Charisma.
Okay.
I hope.
Yep.
Is
it
that
does.
what it means?
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Alrighty, Riz. So what do people who are turning 65 need to be most concerned about health-wise?
So, you know, we're living longer, right? Longer than we ever did before, longer than our bodies were really designed to live. Life expectancy has gone up more than before. So things are going to start breaking down more. So that means more TLC for our bodies. And the top three things that I really tell people to think about are, you know, heart disease, cancer, and dementia. Now, on top of that, we have other sorts of illnesses as well, mental health problems, vision problems, because we're using our eyes more than we did before, hearing problems, which can sneak up on us. Sometimes we don't even realize if our hearing is start to go, especially if we live alone as a senior person, because we don't necessarily talk to people all the time. So having your radar up for all of those types of things, knowing that you need more check-ins, more screenings, but you can keep that body going a lot longer and keep it healthier. I think that's what we need to focus on.
So what advice would you give a silver tsunamist? You know, if they're celebrating this milestone, what would you suggest for them?
So this is a big transition in your life, physically, emotionally, psychologically, and you really need to shift how you think. So most of us keep doing what we're doing birthday after birthday, right? We keep doing the same thing as before, but I really want us to start thinking about 65 as a new phase where the focus is on you.
I love this.
It is about self-care. It is not about your kids. It is not about your grandkids. It is not about your husband or, you know, and a lot of us take that caregiver strategy because we're still going and someone we love maybe needs some more help. But until you take care of yourself, you cannot take care of other people.
You better preach.
I know. Yeah, exactly.
A lot of our
People
audience
out here trying to pour from empty cups. You need to refill that cup. You ain't good to nobody dead. Let me tell you that much.
what she said. That was good.
That's
I'm
right.
so glad you guys are saying this because we forget. And it's not just, again, about our physical health, but also mental health, making sure we keep up with our friends, join groups, join clubs, take classes, do puzzles. We talked about mental fitness the other day. We forget how to take care of our body and our mind, and that's what 65 needs to signify.
I like it. Silver tsunami. All right, let's switch gears here because there's a new study out about the COVID vaccines. I'm interested in this. It's the largest one yet. What did they find, and what are from the beginning of COVID till now? Is that they studied all of it?
Yeah, Jeff, you and I have talked about this
Yes.
before, and there have been over 13.5 billion COVID shots given.
Wow.
So I want you to think about that number for a minute, because anytime you're giving something on that scale, even small little safety signals will emerge. Now, I'm really happy that they're still looking at these vaccines several years later after they've come out, looking for safety concerns and signals, because it's important for us to keep doing that. And I want them to be looking even a decade from now, because we've often talked about when something is new, how do we know what the long-term risks are? So really no surprises here. We saw inflammation emerging as some of the safety signals, inflammation of the heart, myocarditis, inflammation in the sac around the heart, pericarditis, inflammation of the nerves, which can be Guillain-Barré syndrome or transverse myelitis. But the vaccine tricks your immune system, right? So in a small, tiny percentage of cases, tiny, emphasis on the tiny, you are going to get the immune system misbehaving. Just like when you take a blood pressure medicine, most people will do really fine with it and actually prevent stroke and heart disease, but some people will have side effects. So knowing about these side effects to me empowers me. It doesn't make me worried about the vaccine. In fact, it really reinforces my thinking that the benefit outweighs the risk.
And I like that we're talking about it a little bit now, right? Because I lose all faith in the government when they're like, it's all good, don't ask me again, and just get in line. When we're talking, hey, maybe in a small percentage that it does do what people are saying, and those small percentage of people aren't crazy, I appreciate that more, that we could have a conversation about that.
You can be an informed consumer.
Exactly.
Because you are a consumer.
Yes,
and
yes,
it's your
absolutely.
body, so you deserve to know.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, felt like I was just watching like the show. That was really interesting. I'm also very interested in the vaccine.
Right.
Okay, so millions of us, you know, if it's not WebMD, it's Dr. Google. With some of these, sorry for our health-related questions, and some of the most common questions, obviously, are things that we're trying to figure out, like bronchitis. Is it contagious? There are more than 170,000 searches for this specifically each month. 135,000 people ask, what is lupus, each month, and then finally, more than 100,000 people want to know, how much water should you drink in a day? But we got to ask your perspective. You're a real doctor, Harvard trained. What type of medical questions is good to ask a Dr. Google as opposed to ones that are not?
You know, these are very interesting questions, but my big advice would be, do not self-diagnose with Dr. Google. If you have a diagnosis, it's a great place to go to enrich your knowledge of the diagnosis. So as an example, if you have a chronic cough and you type in chronic cough, the things that are going to pop up are lung cancer, and you're going to go down that rabbit hole. But most likely, it's a postnasal drip or a little bit of heartburn. So once your doctor tells you you have a postnasal drip, maybe you Google what are some natural ways for me to deal with postnasal drip, and work on finding natural, solutions. Or if you have hypertension, what can I eat that can reduce hypertension? What are the risk factors for hypertension? So I really like people using Google to augment their diagnoses and their knowledge of management of their conditions, but to go down that rabbit hole with misinformation, disinformation, or just scary things on the internet that you might start opening up and thinking you have lung cancer when you just have a little heartburn.
Great advice, Dr. Kohli. DBL Nation, follow Dr. Kohli on social media at Pyle Kohli MD. Also, be sure to subscribe to her YouTube page. Plus, check out her podcast, Heart of Medicine, wherever you listen to your podcast. Thank you again, Dr. Kohli. As always,